Hello and welcome to day 4 here at the Qatar Classic 2025. After 3 days of intense competition, we are down to the last 8 in both the men's and women's draw. 4 quarterfinals coming your way with 4 more to follow tomorrow. Well, I'm Vanessa Atkinson, and joining me in the studio is Joey Barrington and Lisa Aitken. Lisa, it's been an eventful few days. There was a culling of top seeds in round 1, but it has opened up some big opportunities for lower ranked players to get points.
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of taking stock generally and thinking back to the years when you played and looking through that, thinking it's so cool the way the women's tour is now, with seeds going out in the first round, second round, and maybe not getting through to their typical ranking bracket like they're used to. It's just, I say this all the time, but it does just show the depth and how good everyone's coming along, challenging right from the word go. Also being able to take advantage of the injuries that we're seeing recently, and it's exciting. We see the rankings come out weekly now, and there's lots and lots of movement there.
Yeah, that's got to be a good thing. We're going to see those rankings moving quite soon, I think. Some unexpected appearances in these quarterfinals, Joey. I think only 8 of those 16 players are actually seeded players, which is quite unusual.
It is really unusual, and particularly for the start of the season, as we've been saying kind of all week. But I mean, it just really throws up a lot of opportunity for fans to see other players playing. You know, you had the wonderful combination yesterday of Jonah Bryant and Zachariah, which is obviously going to be one of many battles. And it was quite refreshing, to be honest with you. It's lovely to see some different matchups. We see a lot of squash on SQUASHTV, and the same players playing each other all the time with foregone conclusions. So it's just nice to get a bit of a pick and mix.
Well, it was a very long day yesterday, some great matches, a lot to live up to today. Let's have a look at our order of play for part 1 of the quarterfinals. So the last match this evening, Faris Dessouky taking on Yusuf Ibrahim, again 2 unseeded players there. And then Ira Azman, she's up against Amina Orfi, the number 4 seed. Mustafa Rassal in the first men's match, the number 1 seed, he's taking on Yusuf Solomon. But up first, a seeded player that has made it through, number 2 seed in the women's Egyptian Open champion. She's coming up against Subramaniam, but she hasn't looked great so far this week. Struggled a little bit against Jazz Hutton in her round 2 match, Lisa.
Yeah, she didn't quite have that firepower about her energy and her demeanour that she usually does. Looking back at Cairo, it was a perfect week of squash for her, but it marked her coming back from her injury as well. Now, that was a long time since she'd actually played a tournament, never mind ripping through the draw and taking the title, so 5 matches back to back. She's not done that for a long period of time, so when you consider the physical output there, the emotional and mental output there, she's going to be tired. And this obviously has just come round the corner. I don't think there's anything physically wrong with her. We saw some footage back where she looked like she was kind of grabbing her leg. I think she just wasn't reading the ball. She just wasn't firing on all cylinders, and there was still residual fatigue there.
Well, this will be a real test for that. Hammamy up against Subramaniam. They've played quite a few times. This was their second to last meeting at the London Classic. It was a huge week for Subramaniam, wasn't it? She won her first gold event, had beaten Shabini in the semi-final. 6 weeks later, they played again, and it was revenge for Hammamy, a 3-love victory at the World Championships in Cairo.
Yeah, that was really important for El Hammamy, you know, with it being in Cairo, the World Championships, and trying to put Subramaniam to bed 3-love, which she did in the end. But it just goes to show, it gives you glimpses of what Subramaniam is about, and I just feel that she's one of those players in that kind of chasing group that can really break out if she can consistently put the squash together when it's right. It's so good, you know, she's so attacking, she reads the game very well, completely fearless, and it's a really nice brand of squash, and really important for the Malaysians as well, obviously, to have someone like Subramaniam who's following up on Nicole David and you know, players in the past.
Yeah, I mean, she's got the full package, doesn't she? She's got everything that it takes to challenge these top players and beat them. We've always spoken about the consistency factor for her. I've never really thought too much about how difficult it must be carrying the weight of that, stepping into Nicole David's footsteps, if you like, and what she achieved and trying to live up to that. Whilst it's cool that she had her as a role model, it also must have taken a bit of a mental toll on her, that she had to live up to Nicole David. Because you know what the Malaysian press are like, they're brutal at times.
No, they are. I mean, she's very much her own lady. She has moved to Prague. She's training with Gregory there, but she also works with Ajaz Azmat back in Malaysia for 9 years now, who's a really relaxed character, very different to Gregory Gaultier, but obviously the balance works. So I was chatting to him and he was saying that towards the end of this year she'll move back to Malaysia, base herself there for those kind of Far Eastern tournaments that we'll see in China and then the Hong Kong Open. So I'm fascinated to see how she plays there, because it's a bit more of her own backyard as well.
Well, she's a very different type of player than Nicole Dave as well. She certainly hasn't modelled her game on Nicole.
Not at all.
And she's looked very good on this court, talking about how Hammamy hasn't looked that great. In contrast, Siva looked very, very sharp.
She plays with such a fine margin, doesn't she? She's very severe, aggressive, attacking. It's a really cool, well, it's freezing actually, court there, so it suits her game to a T. But then it just comes down to how are the errors going to look? Can she keep the ball above the tin? And take this court to her advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's the basic. It is down to the unforced error count and her focus, you know, her mental ability to kind of consistently focus throughout. But I feel that she could cause some problems today. El Hammamy will up a game. She'll be a lot better than what she was against Jazz Hutton. I don't want to take anything away from Jazz Hutton, but no, it's going to be a great match, and I can't wait to be on comms with you.
I can't wait more.
Well, the first men's match today features world #1 Mustafa Sal. He's up against his compatriot Yusuf Solomon. Solomon now coached by Ali Farag. Solomon has played Sal quite a lot lately, but has not had a huge amount of success in their previous encounters. Well, I'll let you react to that, Lisa.
What do you want me to say? That's brilliant.
Were you looking at the top off, or were you looking at what he put in his pocket there?
The top off is brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, physique looks good. It's a very good physique.
He's obviously been putting the yards in, that's for sure.
Well, all eyes, as ever, on Mustafa Sal. I feel like the storyline with him is more about, you know, what happens on court. Are the decisions, is he getting in the way, too many stoppages, rather than how well he's playing and whether he wins or loses.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just saw James walking past there with his top off. He's obviously now trying to show his physique as well.
Those
no, not
please.
yet. No, give me a few more months. I mean, yeah, I mean he's always got his signature celebrations that can be delayed, and you know, and they're quite entertaining. There's a lot of people that don't like that. If we talk about the celebration side, I mean, I am waiting for him to put his shorts down at some point.
They nearly came down.
I know they did. But I mean, the celebrations, it's about the squash, isn't it? And, you know, he can do what he wants in the celebrations. I mean, it's...
She's not talking about the celebrations, though, is she?
I'm thinking of Christmas, sorry.
No, I mean, you're obviously talking about his behaviour on court, and can he keep that in check? I mean...
Are we going to do it every day, though? Are we going to talk about it every day?
Well, no. I mean, you're obviously not. You just want to talk about the celebrations. But back to your point, Vanessa, it still is a talking point because it still is there. I mean, how many warnings, how many bans? I know we can say it's deliberate cheating, it's not, it's bad habits, whatever. Regardless, the common denominator is it's still happening. He's still getting conduct strokes, and the players are beyond miffed at this point. The frustration levels with his opponents are extremely high now. And going back to the men's tour as a whole, not that I'm going down a total rabbit hole here, but we're seeing a lot of, well, there's been conversation of the men's game is in a bad way. Now, I don't necessarily agree that that is the case. I mean, the matches of the men's this tournament, I've enjoyed so many of them. And I think that what it comes down to is they're frustrated. The male players are going on court.
Frustrated men.
Frustrated, yeah, they're already frustrated with the backlog of what's been happening and nothing really getting done about it, because we're still here, we're still talking about it, and the behaviours are still happening.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of pretty clean matches. We've seen a lot of good examples of that yesterday.
No, I just want to make the point that, you know, we saw one of the best matches I've seen for a long time between Zachariah and Jonah Bryant, and Zachariah got penalised. And what was interesting about that was Jonah Bryant's interview afterwards was very plain and said, well, if he's going to do that, he's going to get penalised because the referees are looking for it. And that's quite refreshing to have that after a match, a player saying it very clear cut. You know, he's just saying it as it happened and what happened. And he said if he wants to do that, then he's going to get penalised with the current way of the referees are looking at it.
He also pointed out that if he hadn't have made those movements, he felt that Zakaria would have beaten him, which was really interesting.
But
Well, he's
that's
just being
the case
honest.
with Mustafa Sal as well. How many times do we see him make movements where he's probably going to hit a winner, or he's created a lot of pressure with that shot and can follow up and likely hit a winner? The point is, those two players are phenomenal players. They have been gifted with incredible talent, and they've worked really, really hard as well to get to the point of where they are in the rankings, and that's only going to keep going because they're so young. They don't need to do it. Now, what's going to be interesting from here is that match happened last night with Jonah Bryant. Phenomenal. Like, the quality was ridiculous, but he was pinged a lot. So he has a choice now. He can go home and sulk about that and come back out and be the same, or he can put those wrongs to right, come out in his next performance and just not make those movements. Whether he thinks they're right movements or wrong, or he's been hard done by, the thing is the refs are on him now. So he has a choice. He has to work and train in a way where he's practicing clearing the ball properly so he doesn't get pinged, because they're going to be on him.
Well, they will be. I mean,
sorry, I was going to say let's move back to this actual match, because we're talking about one player again. What about Yusuf Solomon? I mean, what does he need to do? Their matches have actually been reasonably clean and free of too many decisions so far, but maybe because they've also been pretty straightforward for Mustafa Sal.
They've been straightforward. You know, it's straightforward. I mean, Gregoire March match the other day was straightforward. When there's not an issue like that, I mean, there was the weird thing with Bombalay in Cairo with the butt of the racket. But when there's not a challenge there. I would like to think there'll be a bit more of a challenge from Yusuf, who does definitely look like he's improving. And the fact he's kind of got Ali Farag taking an interest in him, because Ali Farag's not coaching anyone else, to my knowledge, has kind of seemed to have lifted the confidence levels of Yusuf. He feels quite valued, I feel, and he's got a lot of athletic ability, and if he can really try and take some of that and the court to Mustafa, he might cause some problems, but I just don't think it's quite there yet for Yusuf to trouble him.
How could he at least sort of try and pose more of a threat than he has done previously, Lisa?
I think keep bringing what he's trying to bring. It's clear there's a change in him since working with Ali Farag. Even his demeanour off court, he's walking around, he's a lot more confident, and you should be if you've got a man like Ali Farag believing in you. But it'll take time for the things to embed that Ali wants to bring into his game, but he needs to trust that process and just keep going with what he's doing, because his performances this season so far have been really good.
Okay, well, moving on. Earlier today, Johnny Williams caught up with young Jonah Bryant to discuss the traditional court versus glass court debate.
Jonah Bryant, epic win versus Mohamed Zakaria last night on the glass court here in Doha. How different would that match have been had it been played on this court, a traditional court?
Yeah, I think it could have been very different actually. Normally the traditional courts, it's harder to kill the ball, so the rallies would be a lot longer, so the match duration could have been even longer than it was. And also, you know, you have less input from the officials because there's no video review and stuff like that. So yeah, it could have been a very different match.
What about the spectacle for the viewers from Squash TV in terms of the camera, you know, the lights, the glass? Don't you think it looks better as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a different league really. The content they can also get afterwards from the matches, like the different angles, the lighting, everything. Yeah, the way they lit the court up when we went on, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, very exciting. Let's go and take a look at the glass court and make that comparison.
Yeah.
As a 10-year-old, Jonah, imagine how cool it would have been walking into one of these glass courts every day, or even seeing 5 or 6 of them placed alongside each other.
I mean, yeah, it's every 10-year-old's dream, I'd say. I know for a fact when I was younger, we used to try and emulate playing on a glass court using the glass back wall. Because obviously you see all the top players in the world playing big tournaments around the world on these courts, and all you want to do is get on them yourself. So, no, it would have been pretty special.
Yeah, and don't you think, like the blue walls, it's the colour scheming that would attract kids to want to be in these centres? It's just cool to be there and actually seeing people playing through multiple courts?
Yeah, no, I think for sure. I played a tournament in China last year, and we went to a club where they had 10 glass courts, pink, blue, green, yellow. You know, the girls are on the pink, the boys are on the blue.
I've seen those courts on Alibaba for $20,000, so the price has come down, hasn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, if clubs can afford it and stuff, it'd definitely be a great move to try and attract kids forward.
Is China leading the way for what possibly could be the future for squash, 2050? Can you see new centres like that?
100%. They seem to be putting a lot of centres with a lot of glass courts up. So yeah, I think they're doing a good job at the moment, and there were a lot of kids for sure playing when I was there. So
brilliant. Thanks for your time today, Jonah.
Of course, thank you.
Well, interesting to hear from Jonah Bryant there, Johnny. He's a player that has shown that he can play very well on both courts.
Yeah, he showed it last night. He was able to utilise the attacking side of his game to full effect in a very cool environment. And as he pointed out there, it's very interesting, PJ, that he said that he said to me also privately that he definitely would prefer to play Zachariah on that court rather than on those side courts where the ball's going to rebound a bit faster, so it's going to be harder to hold the ball short on a traditional court.
Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise that the players prefer to especially the top pros like to play on these cooler courts where they do have the ability to put the ball away. I just feel that if you're trying to kind of filter that down to the current situation we've got with the traditional courts, it's just going to be a little bit more difficult. I mean, this court in particular, we've had so many great matches. If you're hitting the ball well and you're a pure ball striker, then it's very, very rewarding. But anything slightly inaccurate just makes it so difficult, and the rallies are so short and severe that if that can filter down into the amateur side of the game, I've got my reservations about it.
So should clubs be building just glass court, or is there still room for traditional court building?
It's a good question. You've got the cost effect. I mean, there's around 50,000 courts.
I tell you what,
PJ,
at my centre Invictus in Zurich, I regret that we built traditional courts. And now that I know that we can go for $20,000, we could have had for the same price, instead of 6 traditional courts lined up in a row, we could have had 5 glass courts with a metre in between them. And I think that we would have attracted way more new players, younger people. It's just the whole effects of being able to film it. Every kid these days wants to put stuff on social media. It's just going to look a lot better with the blue walls, pink lines. Every video that goes out is going to attract more attention, I think.
Would you think eventually we'll get to a point where it's all glass court? So, because now obviously, you know, we concentrate on the glass court action, but there's lots of play going on traditional courts all over the world in PSA events.
Yeah, go on, PJ.
I mean, I don't think it will always necessarily filter down to all glass courts, Vanessa. If you look at the majority of the squash community right now, you look at places like Pontefract and a lot of the old school squash centres in the UK and around the world, with that 50,000 courts, I'd say probably 95 of those are traditional. So that's a massive amount that they're going to have to try and change to bring in that glass aspect. You've also got the factor that the current playing population may be slightly ageing, and the fact that ball isn't going to bounce as much. Then you need to create a different ball that is going to be more bouncy. I mean, aesthetically, there's no comparison for me. They look so much better and they look a lot cooler. And as Jonah said, for a pro level, it's a lot more severe and it's a better environment for them to play on. Television-wise, yes, it makes sense for the glass. I just feel that we've got that. It's a real change of mindset, and you know what the squash community are like as well, Vanessa. In the old school, they don't like change.
That's true. But most of the professional players, even the ones that are featuring predominantly on glass courts, they're still training on traditional courts.
They do a lot, but I feel that the statement that he made about being in China and they only build it, you know, they've got other reasons that they have to be prepared to disassemble on the whim of the government perhaps as well. So they're more prepared for that. But given that the price has come down, I think that as we move forward, especially 20 years from now, I think you're going to see a lot more centres that are glass courts only. But the main point is to get the new places to drive that forward.
Well, we're firmly focused on the glass court action today. Up in the second women's quarter-final, we've got Ira Azman of Malaysia. She's taking on the 4-time world junior champion, Amina Orfi. Well, the last time these two played was actually at the World Junior Championships in 2023 in the final, which was obviously a huge achievement for both players. A pretty straightforward win for Orfi. They actually played in the team event as well. Is there any reason to believe that gap may have closed?
I think if you look at the way that Azman played in the first match, especially against Mikawi, the way that she adapted to these courts, again, we talk about the traditional courts that she played her first round on, to then come on the glass and adapt the way that she did. I was really impressed. She's very, very light-footed, very quick into the front two corners. The confidence grew with her performance against the Egyptian in that, and the more court time she can get on this type of surface, I feel will aid her, and we will see her climb up the ranks. But she's coming up against four-time world junior champion Orfi, and it's quite interesting watching her technique there. I mean, not that much has changed, maybe a little bit more variety, but the basic foundations.
I mean, they talk about the gap, has the gap closed? I think it's widened, to be honest. I think that's how good Orfi is. I think that she's just steaming ahead. She's got her eye on world number 4 very soon. The injury woes of Olivia Weaver's going to help that anyway. But she's not satisfied with 4. And I think that for Ira Azman today, this is an absolute mountain to climb, like literally your proverbial Everest.
Still great to see 2 junior players from a couple of years ago playing in the final and now in a quarterfinal of a platinum event.
Well, we saw that last night with Zachariah and Jonah Bryant as well, Vanessa, and it is great that we are seeing so many highly ranked juniors filtering through onto the Pro Tour now. Over in the US, for example, there's a lot of college students now see a pathway onto the Squash Tour, and it's just so fitting that we're now going to see these rivalries early on with obviously Azman and Orfi and Zachariah and Bryant. And I think it's just so healthy for the tour. I mean, that match yesterday, that's one of many, many battles that we're going to see as the years carry on.
And it's the first quarter-final for Azman at a platinum event. She's already gone one further than her last 16, which she made in El Gouna of last year. She lost out to Gina Kennedy in that match, so that was a big moment in itself to make a last 16 now in a quarter-final. So she's making really good progress.
Yeah, she certainly is. Unfortunately, her sister dipped out because that's the first time that we've seen 2 Malaysian ladies in the quarterfinal since 2015, Nicole David and Delia Arnold. Her sister had that concussion incident. Would have been 3, so that would have been a new record. But for Ira Azman, it's onwards and upwards. She's a fantastic shot player, so she's certainly going to be trying to fire them in, but she's up against the defences of Orfi, who I would say that are right up there with the best in the world.
Well, it's a big match to close out play. Faris Dessouky taking on the gunslinger Yusuf Ibrahim. That's going to be a really interesting one. Very difficult to predict who's going to come out on top of that one.
Yeah, I think both players are coming into some very good form. Vanessa, if you look at the way that Ibrahim came through in his kind of matchup, he absolutely loves playing on this court. They have played once previously, went all the way, went to the wire, was a 5-setter. I think it's going to be high octane, a lot of activity into the front 2 corners. One of the big additions that we've seen for Faris Dessouky is the coaching corner with
Hisham Alatar. He's a very calm paddle player, I can say on first hand. Palm Hills, I was playing with your mate Parky, we're up against Hesham. This guy is such a cool customer. I think that there could be no better person in Dessouky's corner than someone like Hesham, who has the squash experience. He's a very highly skilled ball striker himself. They can talk about, the finer arts of hitting the wonderful shots and all this sort of stuff, but it's the way that he can cool the head of Dessouky when the dynamite might start to simmer away.
That's always been the Achilles heel for him, hasn't it? And we know that Faris Dessouky, when he's on form, he's one of the most natural squash players out on tour. The issue is he can go from this kind of quite sublime and magnificent to absolutely shocking and horrendous, and it's purely what goes on between the ears. And that's why, as I said, with that addition of Alatar in his corner, Alatar's worked with a lot of kind of pros over the years, and that is his calming effect, and that's what he has on the players. And it's great to see Dessouky come into that kind of confident form again. For me, I mean, that's certainly my pick of the day, because you've got the gunslinger who the body seems to be holding up pretty well. The artillery that he's got, the left-hander, he'll look to work a lot of the play down that left-hand side so he can kind of expose his forehand if possible.
Definitely. We're going to see a lot of action on the right-hand side.
If they bring anywhere near their best at the same time out there, I think this could be another absolute classic.
Yeah,
this
good call, PJ.
Will it be a battle of squash, though, or will it be a battle of who sort of holds it together between the ears? Because we've been focused on Dessouky, but the gunslinger, Yusuf Ibrahim, he also sometimes struggles to keep his cool.
This is the reason that I picked Dessouky. I was put on the, on the spot a couple of times by you, Vanessa, and I said I saw that matchup was coming, and I just feel that the errors from Ibrahim are also his Achilles heel, and I think that is exactly what Dessouky needs. He needs someone who's going to make the sort of errors which will just spur him on at the right moments, at critical stages, and with the addition of Hammamy, who'll be telling him shift it over to that backhand, pressure that backhand of the lefty. You know how it is, PJ, as a lefty.
Do. Keep it away from the lefty.
Exactly, and I think that Dessouky's forehand is just, it's so explosive the way he moves onto it.
Well, the last time they met was actually here. It was all the way back in 2020. It was in the quarter-final of the Qatar Classic that year, and it was a win for Dessouky by the narrowest of margins, Johnny.
Yeah, every game that Dessouky won was 11-4s and 11-3s, and the two games, as we see here, Ibrahim won with tie breaks. Now, the only bad omen that I'm worried about a little bit is the match after this one, PJ, is we're talking about where the head rolls off the shoulders. Dessouky lost the first game to Paul Cole in the semis 11-9 and then lost 11-love, 11-love. He actually didn't even try. He put the gun in the holster and there was nothing more.
Yeah, again, that's what makes this such an enticing affair for me, because you've got two players that possess such wonderful natural ability and talent, but such fragility mentally. And I think that the fact that, I just feel that whoever gets off to the better start and can cement and set their stall out early on, I do feel that we'll maybe see a little bit of a collapse from the opponent, and there could be a flurry of unforced errors. But I mean, I think it's just going to be an absolute cracker.
Ibrahim's probably the favourite, isn't he, on paper? What does Dessouky have to do well, apart from keep his head together, Johnny?
He needs to make sure that he defends well down the right-hand side and looks to frustrate Dessouky with switching it over. And he has to make sure that he doesn't do what I call soft attacks into the front right, anything front right, middle of the right-hand court, where he's just like, it's a soft, prod with the racket, which he, has been able to do perhaps against other players. He cannot do that today, because Dessouky can hit any shot in the book, whether it be a counter drop, a trickle boast, firing missiles down the line across court. He's got it all, and it's all with that, that explosive movement. So he needs to be careful there. Yeah,
I think one of the strong suits for Ibrahim is going in short with pace, though, Johnny. Especially on that forehand side, we know that he has such an artillery that I don't think he'll be looking to float that ball in short for Dessouky, because of the speed that Dessouky has, who can then reapply the pressure. I feel.
What about Ibrahim not having a coach in his corner? I just feel that's a slight advantage for Dessouky as well.
Yeah, I mean, especially from a mental
because you mentioned about that, the fragility.
Absolutely.
If the bad start, there's no one there. He's going to have to figure it out on his own.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these guys are professionals, and he works very closely with his brother back in Philadelphia. That game plan will be kind of discussed at length. He'll probably have a few notes written down at some stage of kind of that plan that he's looking to implement and enforce as much as he can. It's one of those cases, they'll both have an idea of what they're going to try and do. It's who can get closest to executing that plan for the longest.
Answer the question for me, PJ. Who's going to win?
I'm going to go for an Ibrahim win. I feel that as well as Dessouky's been playing, and it's great to see him back, I feel that he's going to make the most of this open side of the draw, and it's a great opportunity for him to make a massive imprint and an increase in his rankings.
Johnny, agree?
Disagree? No, I disagree. I can see where he's coming from, because Ibrahim gave the big announcement, top 3 in the world. He needs to win today if he's going to do it, but I just think Faraz he's been overlooked, and I'm picking up that tab now, and I'm going to go with it. Faraz Dessouky.
Fantastic. Well, we do have one more Squash Tour Finals pundit predictions for you. Let's have a look who it is. Who's left? Joey. I hope he goes for it here.
Let's have a quick look here. Well, he's fairly steady on the top 4 as per usual. Yeah, that he's gone pretty safe there, but he's gone for the southpaw.
A lot of the predictions have had Watanabe in there. She hasn't had a good start to the season.
No, she hasn't. Yeah, and that's somebody that I was actually looking to try and bring in, and I missed the boat on. No, it was Abulkir actually. I was looking for. Yeah, I missed the boat there. But I mean, on current form, you'd have to say Watanabe could be the weak link there.
Let's have a look at his prediction for the men.
Again, very steady top four. I mean, he always plays it safe, Joey, doesn't he, really? I mean, he's got Gawad in there. How old is Gawad now? I mean, he had a great Egyptian Open, but...
Hasn't put either of the two youngsters in there, Johnny, Zakaria or Brian.
Yeah, he hasn't, and he's going to be worried about Marwan El-Shabaghi. That's for sure, after the end of that match where Marwan was going absolutely mental at Roy Gingell once again.
So good picks, bad picks. Have we seen yours yet, PJ?
No, fortunately not, and I'm trying to change those before we actually come back.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for joining us for our pre-show. I hope you've enjoyed yourself as much as we have. We've got our match coverage coming up shortly, so switch over to Squash TV. Hello and welcome to Doha. The Qatar Classic 2025 is well underway here at the familiar setting of the Khalifa Stadium. Day 4, and it is part 1 of the quarterfinals coming up. The top half battling it out for the place in those semi-finals on Friday, PJ. Yeah. How's your week been in Doha so far? Have you been able to enjoy a bit of sunshine before heading into this freezing cold arena?
Did the makeup artist not take care of it? A little bit of shine there. Unfortunately, not as much sun I would have liked, but I mean, we talk about this every time we come onto the show, Vanessa, the treatment and the kind of the treatment the players get, and obviously us as crew here is the best in the business.